Hello everyone who came here to enjoy our new video, which is about immensely dangerous kind of sport. There's no need in jumping from heights beyond the imagination or diving to multimeter depths. The main risk is in the fact that these sportsmen have to break the natural laws in order to get in the perfect shape. So, today we'll discuss bodybuilding, particularly the athletes notorious for their sport careers. Mustafa Ismail. Just look at the biceps of this man. They look really threatening, not surprisingly, because their girth reaches over 78 centimeters. This result was achieved by the way of the protein diet compliance. Notably, Mustafa Ismail claims that he has never resorted to the usage of steroids, which are immensely popular among other bodybuilders, and practically no one of them can imagine his life without these chemicals. Nevertheless, probably we won't be able to make sure that the words of this athlete are truthful. The plenty of people says that despite the impressive biceps, the Mustafa Ismail silhouette looks pretty hideous. The fact is that his hands are disproportionate in comparison with the rest of his body. Attending the gym, he exclusively makes his arms strong, avoiding the workouts on the other parts of the body. That's why his corpus is slightly muscular. Such body type didn't bring only glory and popularity but difficulties as well. For example, Mustafa Ismail says that he has to order shirts in ateliers. Would you like to have such biceps? Bertil Fox. The magazine Flex described him like this: "No one works out like this guy, even Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was called furious and cruel. His furiousness helped him to become three-time winner of the English contest Mr. Universe. Besides, this quality resulted in his arrival in the USA. There Bertil Fox exercised till unconsciousness every day. Due to such an impressive workability, he was noticed by the godfather of bodybuilding, Joe Waiter. However, athlete's furiousness and cruelty broke his life after all. The point is that on 30th of August 1997, bodies of 20 years old Lyoka Brown, the St. Kitts Queen of Beauty, and 36 years old Violet Brown, her mother, were found in the house of the bodybuilder. Both of them were shot dead. Unsurprisingly, the next day Bertil Fox was being held on suspicion of the murder by the police. He turned out to be rather faithful, as he confessed in 2 days. At first, in 1998, he was given the death penalty, namely, hanging from the neck until dead. But to Bertil Fox's luck, the decision was changed in his favor. That's why he was sent in prison to life imprisonment. Notably, he still serves the sentence. Chad Brazers. Where is it most likely to meet a bodybuilder? Undoubtedly, this place is gym. I suppose you would feel over the moon seeing such an outstanding person. You could take a photo with him, ask a couple of questions how to get in shape quickly, and so on. Nevertheless, after hearing the next story, you'll forget about your desire to meet an athlete. In 2011, Chad Brazers, the American bodybuilder, decided to visit the gym in New York. By the way, he attended regularly as the average bodybuilder. But this visit turned out to be unforgettable for him and one of the gym's visitors. The point is that Chad accidentally fell at the treadmill and went berserk. He ran up to the sportsman running next to him. The bodybuilder increased the speed of the treadmill and then punched this person in the face. Chad Brazers didn't find that this cruelty was enough. Here's why he managed to break the other exercise equipment. Soon the police officers arrived, but it wasn't enough to stop him. Can you imagine yourself, the huge, overtrained, and what's more, furious bodybuilder fighting against few cops? It's silly to deny that Chad was far more stronger than them. That is the reason why policemen had to use stun guns to neutralize him. Unfortunately, such a low electrical power turned out to be enough to kill him. The doctors tried to revive him, however, all attempts were useless. It was identified that Chad Brazers took steroids with phencyclidine shortly before his death. This medicine contributed to his death. It is said that this man fell victim of so-called steroid rage. Ruben Arzu. I want you to give a little task. I know that it's hard, but just try to cope with it. Imagine that you stay at your house with your wife and do nothing significant. Then you decide to look out the window and see something truly unexpected. There's an absolutely naked man standing on your lawn. Moreover, he's in a state of extreme aggression. No, I didn't make up this story, as it's based on the real events took place in South California in 2011. This unexpected guest turned out to be Ruben Arzu, the professional bodybuilder. He attacked the head of the family, beat him up and broke his jaw. As for the victim's wife, after seeing that, she entered the house and tried to call the police, but she didn't have enough time. The crazy athlete chased the woman and wringed her neck, breaking the base of the skull. Luckily, Both of them survived and a psychopath was placed in the jail. This story is the example of the excessive steroids consumption and the following negative influence harming the human psyche. Haiming. Probably you wonder what person has to do to get in such shape except using steroids. In a few words, bodybuilder adds a lot of pressure on his heart and other body organs. This pressure is explained by the extreme diets with the high content of protein and reduced quantity of the other nutrients. One more reason are ruthless to yourself workouts. All these actions are done daily in order to get in such shape and keep it. Haiming was the adherent of such a dangerous lifestyle. He enjoyed the crowd's attention so much that he was ready to deprive himself of the normal life's joy. This decision led to the negative consequences in the future. During the competitions of the highest level, he had a heart stroke and lost consciousness right in the middle of his performance on the stage. Despite such a tragic ending of the athlete, the performance went on. What was rather disrespecting to Haiming as he dedicated his whole life to this sport. Muhammed Benaziza. This man said that those bodybuilders who gave up using steroids were cowards. However, in 1992 Muhammed Benaziza was found dead later in his room in the hotel. There are lots of hypotheses how he met his death, such as hereditary blood disorder, overdose, inappropriate usage of diuretics, insulin shock, heart disease caused by anabolics. Eventually, the autopsy showed signs of the serious dehydration and heart failure. Thus, it's believed that the athlete's death was caused by the dangerous cocktail including diuretics. Muhammed Benaziza used to be the really outstanding bodybuilder. In 1990 he won the Night of Champions, and due to this he was titled as the Killer of Giants. Apart from that, he took the 5th place on the championship Mr. Olympia. Antony. Since the childhood this athlete was really disciplined, that's why he managed to become the star of wrestling at school. After the graduation of college he took up working out, did bench press 240 kilograms. Unsurprisingly, such impressive results led him to the 1st place on the American Championship. Since that moment Antony got plenty of injuries during trainings and competitions, but he didn't plan to finish his sport career. Soon after that, in 2002, he was diagnosed with heart disease and was ordered to give up doing sport and using steroids. Luckily, the athlete obeyed, but not for a long time. In 2006 he decided to continue working out and, consequently, taking the harmful medicines such as growth hormones with the help of injections. No wonder he died soon after that. His body was found in the hotel room. He flew to Pittsburgh to take part in the competitions, and after the necessary procedure of the weight measurement turned back to his room. There he practiced poses with his friend and suddenly had a heart attack. Now is the time to talk about the most reckless bodybuilders who came too far. Lyle Alzado. It's important to make it clear that Lyle Alzado was more football player than bodybuilder. Nevertheless, he was among the few who admitted the usage of steroids. Initially, he looked like the average teen at school. That's why in order to stand out in his football team he started experimenting with steroids and didn't stop since that period of life. It resulted in the impressive success in the career. He played for such football teams as Denver Broncos, Cleveland Browns and LA Riders. He performed during 15 seasons and brought victory in 97 matches of 196. Apart from that, he succeeded in the acting career. You may think that the life of Lyle Alzado was perfect, but in such case he wouldn't appear in our top. The whole story is about the fact that he died at the age of 43 because of brain cancer. The sportsman believed that this disease was caused by the consumption of steroids. This is how he commented his own life. I started taking anabolic steroids in 1969 and never stopped. It captured me and attracted psychologically. Now I'm ill and scared. 90% of sportsmen I know are on chemicals. We aren't born to weigh 140 kilograms and jump 10 meters. While I took steroids I was considered the best. I became really cruel on the field and out of the game, once being behind the wheel, and I monstrously beat the other man as I wasn't satisfied with the way he drove. Now look at me. I don't have any hair. I'm shaking and need to lean on somebody while moving. It's even difficult for me to think. The last desire? I don't want anybody to die like this. Gregg Valentino. These arms resemble the hands of Mustafa Ismail, but the approaches of getting such muscles differ. As for Gregg Valentino, he wanted to break the records of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Dorian Yates, whose biceps were over 60 centimeters. Obviously, at first he didn't succeed in this task as the girth of his arms reached only 49 centimeters in 1980s. But in 1990s the situation changed in the athlete's favor due to the appearance of the new medicament Syntoff, which is pricked in muscles. After that one can achieve immensely impressive results as well as Gregg Valentino because his biceps grew to 69 centimeters. Previously the world of bodybuilding was already familiar to the other medicine called acetylcholine. but its disadvantage was the fact that muscles seemed to be bloated only for one day, while Sintoff makes it possible to keep the effect for 3 to 5 years. The course allowing to get 70 centimeters in girth biceps includes 200 injections in every hand. Just imagine that. Would you be ready to take such a dangerous course for arms of your dreams? At one point Gregg Valentino boasted that he had the largest arms in the world, but his happiness didn't last long as he had to consult the doctors in 2000s. He started having strong aches in biceps and his arms stopped bending. After that he decided to take care of his problem by the way of drying out his hands. You probably won't believe your ears, but then his biceps blew up. Doctors recommended him to have an operation to pump out Sintoff from muscles. At first he reduced from doing that, but pain was getting worse. Now the arms of Gregg Valentino are covered by the plenty of ugly scars. Andreas Munzer. This athlete is certainly the craziest bodybuilder in the world. He was famous all over the world, being called like the man without skin or breadcrumb. He got such strange nicknames due to the fact that he dedicated his whole life to the building dry muscle mass with practically no fat layer. Such shapes couldn't be missed by the mass media. That's why Andreas Munzer was depicted for the covers of Flex and Muscle magazine and shot for the advertising campaigns of sports nutrition. The other thing he was famous for was his character. The point is that he possessed the indestructible willpower. Thanks to this trait he worked out all year round and didn't give up his low-carb diet. At the same time the athlete always took steroids and diuretics in high dosages. Overuse of harmful medicaments resulted in the internal injury. Andreas Munzer suffered from the long-lasting stomachache and was hospitalized in 1996. To stop the gastric bleeding the operation was necessary, but it turned out to be useless as the liver and kidneys failed after it. Andreas died being really young. He was only 31 years old. The autopsy showed that liver was highly damaged and the heart doubled in size. Finally, the blood test revealed the high content of potassium and signs of 20 types of steroids consumption. So, the top came to the end. Is success worth human life? I suppose there's no need to answer this question. Just think about the fact that all bodybuilders from this top destroy their lives. Some of them have their lifetime while others lock themselves up in prisons. They poison the lives of their families, friends and random people. Apart from that, these athletes destroyed their bodies by their way of attempting to break the laws of nature. But it's important to remember that there's no sense in fighting against nature because it's much stronger than humanity. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video.